As a kid, when I was in grade 3, I wanted to be a Disney princess for Halloween like every little girl. I wanted to be Cinderella. When I told my friends, they took one look at me and laughed. They said, Gurnaz, you can't be a Disney princess for Halloween. You don't even look like one. You don't have her hair, her eyes, or her skin color. I remember my favorite television shows, Kim Possible, Lizzie McGuire, and Bob the Builder. All these shows had one thing in common, and that was little or no racial diversity. My younger self felt distant from these characters. I wasn't like them. I wasn't the same color. And like many children of various kinds of ethnicities, I could not relate. Now, if there ever was a character that did have a role, it was usually a very stereotypical one. A character that fell under this category was Apu Nahasimaptilin from The Simpsons. He's the one who owns that grocery store. Yeah. Now, the thing that bugged me about Apu was he was a man with fractured English, a bizarre religious practices, an arranged marriage, and an illegal immigration status. The day I found out he was voiced by a man named Hank Azaria, a Greek Caucasian American, I finally understood after all these years why Apu, being an Indian, sucked at his own accent. He was a brown man voiced by a white man voicing a brown man. Many South Asians in America felt insulted by this guy. All these ideas that they had about Apu, they related to the South Asian community, and this was not really quite the case. It wasn't really applied to everybody. Now, thanks to Apu, I met a countless number of non-South Asian people who came up to me with their depiction of an Indian accent. Now, I would give their Indian accent maybe a 7 or an 8, 8.5 on a scale of 100. They thought that their Indian accent would impress me, but in reality, it was kind of offending. So guys, please don't try that. Now, Apu was a man who promoted all these stereotypical ideas. And I didn't really like that, and I didn't really support that. Now, not having enough people in the media has a huge impact on beauty standards. Beauty standards in India, especially. Skin lightening. This is a huge thing where I come from back in India. Lots of people support this brand called Fair & Lovely. It sells fairness creams. And many little girls in India are brought up with the idea that fairness equals beauty. So they use these skin lightening creams. Bollywood, India's thriving film industry, has actresses that are only fair, and their fairness is associated with beauty. And little girls, they idolize these actresses, so they use this cream in order to look like them, which they don't. I don't really think these fairness creams actually work. They actually cause more harm than good that they do. Now, Fair & Lovely sells not only products for women, but also for men. So men are also dragged into this idea that white equals beauty. The media has a huge impact, more than that we can think. It results in discrimination. Many people tend to believe whatever they see in the media. An example of this would be portraying Arabs and Muslims as extremists and terrorists who are violent and uncivilized. I was watching another TEDx talk in which I learned that in the opening song of Disney's Aladdin, there is a merchant who sings, where they cut off your ear if they don't like your face. It's barbaric, but hey, it's home. Now, what would the impact of this be on a child watching the song or the movie or anything? They would think that anybody who was Middle Eastern, who looked like that man, would want to hurt them. Now, after 9/11, Muslims were pushed into the global media. People's perceptions began to change, and this fueled the idea that anybody who was Middle Eastern was a threat. Now, Muslims were not the only targeted people. Other highly targeted minorities include Hispanics and African Americans and Sikhs. Hispanics are constantly given the roles of uneducated janitors and cleaning staff, and African Americans are constantly given the roles of criminals and gangsters. And these people, they accept these roles because they don't really have any other ones that they can accept. There needs to be more talented people that are of color. They need to be given more opportunities in order to fix this problem. The media is the main means of mass communication. It includes television, newspapers, radios, and the internet, everybody's favorite. Now, all these begin shaping our perception on race at a very young age. The things that we see and hear impact the way that we think. And that is why many people believe what they see. Now, according to a study done at Templeton University, many children are affected by what they see in the media. If they are shown as having more opportunities and they're overrepresented, they think they can succeed more. And if they're underrepresented, they see themselves as having fewer opportunities. Has anybody here heard of the Clarke doll experiment? Anybody at all? No? No? Okay. Oh, 2, 3. For those of you who haven't, I'll give a short explanation. So basically, there's children of color. They're told to sit down. In front of them, there are 2 dolls that are placed. One of them is dark-skinned, and the other one is light-skinned. And then they're asked a series of questions ranging from, which doll is the good doll? Which doll is the bad doll? Which doll looks like you? And most of these times that these children, they answer with that the dark-skinned doll is bad. And they actually relate to the dark-skinned doll. And they tend to become a little sad after this experiment. Yeah, I know it's kind of sad. Yeah. So this experiment proves that the children are quite actually affected by what they see in the media. Minhal Matani, a professor at the University of Toronto, agrees, saying, quote, "Ethnic minorities in Canada do not see themselves being mirrored in the media. This perpetuates the feelings of rejection, trivializes their contributions, and devalues their roles as citizens in their nations." Now, you guys may be wondering, who is in charge of these shows that we watch? According to a report from a reality television, the report stated that the breakdown of NBC's New York senior staff was 96% white. Now, the problem with this is that every time there's casting for lead roles in a movie or a show, these people of higher positions subconsciously choose their own race over the other. So this results in the other races getting negative roles or smaller roles, and they're usually really stereotypical also. So also, physical media such as magazines lack diversity. In 2014, 19.7% of covers had some kind of person of color. In the next year, this was bumped up by 0.1% to 19.8%. Now, this is an improvement, but not one that is appropriate in this age of multiculturalism and diversity. There needs to be more people of color on these magazines, because these are the things that we see every single day. The only way to remove these barriers is to have patience and persistence in what we believe is right. It is difficult to enact drastic measures until there's more people of color that make it to the top ranks of the media and entertainment industries. Many television shows continue to portray these minorities quite negatively, and they place them as inferior. So let's hope that 2017 is a year of change. Change in the media, or change simply in the way that we think. Thank you, guys.